Okay, let's get this started. Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Marcia Greyeyes. I am the Operation and Community Manager for Change Labs. My clans are Kilachini Nishlingo, Torachini Bashichin, Lugadana, Dashiche, Doashin, Dashinale. I am Navajo and I am from Shanto. My clans in English are I'm Red House, born for Bitterwater. My maternal grandparents, or my paternal grandfather is of the Ree People clan, and my paternal grandfather's clan is Salt People. We would like to thank you for signing up and attending today's workshop and webinar. The title of the webinar is Finding Resilience and Creativity and Opportunity in Difficult Times, hosted by Change Labs and presented by SYPartners. Change Labs believes that entrepreneurship is our path to stronger and more resilient Native communities. We provide workshops, creative workspace, resources, and knowledge for Native entrepreneurs. We also have 5 programs that foster the creation and growth of Native-owned small businesses. The 5 programs are Resident Designer, Co-working Space, Business Incubator, Doing Business, Kinship Lending. And here's a little bit about what a resident designer is. They provide one-on-one help to developing a website or other creative materials for Native-owned businesses. The co-working space provides desk space, Wi-Fi, color printing, button making, monthly training, and more to entrepreneurs. We are located in Tuba City, and we're open daily from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. during the pandemic. And we hope to expand our hours later. Business Incubators is a program that we have where we select 20 high potential Native entrepreneurs each year to help start up and grow their business idea. The Kinship Lending is where we provide 0% interest loans of up to $5,000 to Navajo and Hopi small business owners, vendors, and artists throughout tribal lands. Our goal is to create resources to help you leapfrog the barriers to entrepreneurship. And I'd like to mention that we also have an app and website called Res Rising. It is a platform to connect people with Native-owned businesses across the Southwest. It's a downloadable app to a mobile device, and you can also type in Res Rising to find our website. And the idea is to connect Native business owners with customers, and also to provide a little bit of information about themselves on their yellow page / website, or actually web page type deal where people can contact them. And we also provide 90-minute coaching sessions every Monday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. These are 9 of the Change Lab staff. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but going from left to right, first row is Heather, she's our executive director. Jessica Ego is our co-founder. There's me, I'm the community and operations manager. Elliot Naz is a business counselor. Tim Deal is also business counselor, and so is Trish Resnick. And Tommy Greyeyes is our resident artist. Alex Barton and also Leon joined our team quite recently. They've already been doing a lot of work for Change Labs. And our next webinar, aka workshop, is Business Taxes Q&A with Angela Bobet, which is Wednesday, July 8th from 11 to 1 p.m. So if you're interested, go to our website, nativestartup.org/events, and sign up for the webinar. And also you can use that same address to sign up and for a session with our business counselors. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce SYPartners, who's doing today's webinar, Finding Resilience, Creativity, and Opportunity in Difficult Times. I'd like to turn the time to Lisa, Ellen, and Aaron. And please keep in mind that you can type your questions in the chat window at any time, and we'll be sure to answer any you may have.
Thank you so much, Marcia. So we're gonna get our slide deck up. We do just wanna quickly introduce my team. We'll do some slightly more thorough introductions in a minute, but I'm Lisa Katayama, and I'm here with Ellen Rose and Aaron Fallon. We all work at SYPartners, which is a consulting company based in San Francisco and New York. And we work with companies and organizations of all sizes on things like finding your purpose and your vision, finding challenges in culture, and you know, finding creative ways through culture challenges. And so we're really honored to be here today. I just wanted to share a little bit about our intentions for the day, as well as a brief agenda on how we will go through the next couple hours with you. So really we have a few intentions here. One is that we're so happy that Heather and Marcia invited us to be here, because this seems like a really great opportunity for all of us here to connect, and all of you to connect with each other. I think we're in a, you know, the world is kind of facing an unprecedentedly strange and difficult time, and this sense of community is so important. So while we're not together in person, I think even just being able to connect virtually and share a little bit of what's happening for us would be really nice. And to that end, we will be asking people, we will have many moments where people will have the opportunity to share some of their thinking or their feelings or their work. It is not by any means obligatory. You don't have to share, but also feel that this is a safe space to do so. Another intention we have is to explore and to learn from one another. So I know we're kind of here, you know, as part of a company, but we also just here as individuals who want to learn and who want to connect. And I think that's another thing I'd like to do, is for everybody to have their curiosity and their kind of openness with them as we go through the day. We also really think that this is a good time to imagine a way forward that may or may not be different than what you have been doing. So oftentimes in really difficult moments, we can draw on things that are inner strengths or our community or resources to find new ways forward, to find possibilities that may not have been visible to us before. So another hope we have is that we can identify what that might be for each of us and each of you. I want to reiterate that this is a safe space. So Change Labs is recording the session, but it's really just so that they have our facilitation piece on audio. We will be, and Heather, please feel free to jump in, but I believe we'll be editing out any portions where folks from the community will be talking and sharing. So please feel free to just be open. Okay, so our time together, we have a little under 2 hours. We will be starting with some introductions, and then we will be kind of looking at this moment and what it's like for each of us. We will then share some stories from the field. So this will be in the form of some videos and a conversation around what we saw and what, you know, other people might have gone through in stuck moments and to get out of those moments. We will then do a little exercise around finding our personal strengths. We'll take a quick break, And then for the last portion of the time, which will be the longest portion of time, us will be road mapping our own future and coming up with kind of a vision statement or illustration and thinking about how to achieve that vision. We will continue to screen share. So right now, I don't know how many of you are seeing the screen. So we'll have a visual on the screen, but we will also be voicing over everything. So if you're calling in from your phone, that should be fine. Please also make sure you have some paper and a pen or pencil handy, or something to write on. And okay, April, great. I see that you see the slides, so that's wonderful. And also, I think by default, your mics are muted at the moment, but if you do have something to say, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak, ask questions, share a thought. This is totally open forum. We're not, by any means here to just talk at you the whole time. So please feel free. Also, if it's easier to just throw something in the chat window, which I see a few of you have been doing, that's also a great way to communicate with us. Yeah, so.
Okay, I'll continue with the introductions. So good morning, everyone. I'm with SYPartners. My name is Ellen Rose, and my last name Rose is from my father's side. He's from Scotland, and my mother's last name is Kinsner, which means artist in German, and her family comes from Germany. And I'm joining this workshop and helping Erin and Lisa facilitate this, because I think that it's just a great moment for people to connect and talk through what's happening. And I think as much as we have to offer you, I think we also have a lot to learn from you as well. So we're a fairly big group, so I think we'll keep the introductions short, but it'd be great if people came off mute to say hi, and I can actually call on you because it's really hard to know when to jump in on a big Zoom call. But Heather, if you'd start us off.
Thanks, Ellen. My name is Heather Fleming Inisha, Bitane Nishle, do Bilagana Bashichin, Torachini Deshiche, do Bilagana Deshinala. I was born in Tuba City, but I'm from Vanderwagen, New Mexico, and now live in Denver and work for Change Labs. And I'm joining this workshop because I have so many reasons, but I'm just finding it hard to figure out how to think about the future when there's like no plan, or not no plan, but no one can tell me what's going to happen. So I just like this idea of using this moment to self-reflect, which I never got to do before coronavirus. But if there's any positive or silver lining to all this, is I have plenty of time for it. So I'm going to use this opportunity today to just reflect.
Great, thank you. And okay, so if you're comfortable, Stephanie, I see your name. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi there. My name is Stephanie Roman. I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia, and it's pretty stormy here, so I have my camera off because it's super dark where I am, and I don't want to creep you out. So I hope everyone's doing great. I just wanted to let you know I'm a self-starter entrepreneur. I own a creative communications company here in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was also born out of a difficult time. I was a travel agent and lost my job after 9/11 and decided to go into business for myself. So I just want to offer all the entrepreneurs out there some support and positivity, and you can make it through this difficult time. If there's any way that I can help or share my experience or any resources, I'm happy to do it. I first learned about Change Labs online. I had become familiar with the Navajo community through my work with Adopt a Native Elder, and have been on the Navajo reservation helping to distribute food and supplies to the elders, like in Sanders, Big Mountain, and areas around northern Arizona. And I spoke with a lot of the families about how difficult it was for people to find good job opportunities. But there were so many people with great ideas and entrepreneurial skills that I wanted to go ahead and contribute to Change Labs and do what I can to help them help themselves. So I'm really excited to hear what you're all up to, and if you have any questions that I can help with. And I also just want to check in with other entrepreneurs and see what they've been experiencing over the last several months, just kind of connect and share our stories. Thanks very much for having me.
Great, nice to meet you, Stephanie. And then I see Martina, if you would like to unmute yourself and say hello.
Hello, I'm Martina. I'm originally from Czech Republic, but I'm living now in Scotland. I am joining here pretty much to listen and learn. I am now working for a university, but I will be starting my master's degree. And I just want to learn, which hopefully all your experiences and views and ideas will help me to kind of shape my journey through my master's and my project after. So I hope it's okay that I'm just joining in through this way. And thank you for having me.
Of course. What an international group. This is incredible. Trish. I think I saw Trish.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Trish Rensink, and I have the good fortune to be employed by Change Labs and to work with all of our amazing entrepreneurs and business owners. And my interest in this is resilience is a critical need for business owners in the best of times. And it's even more so now. And we're always encouraging them to know how to be open to opportunities and assess them for benefit. And although I am a trained actor and was a professional actor at one point, creativity eludes me. So I'm always looking for opportunities to increase my creativity. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. How about April? Would you like to say hello?
Great. Kami ang mga April Tinhorn Exitga Nyawabay Wamuli Chanam. Hello, my name is April Tinhorn and I'm Wallapai Navajo in Chinese. And for the past 9 years, I've owned Tinhorn Consulting, where we're all about igniting Indigenous connections for our tribal communities. And we remain committed to that vision of bettering our tribal communities, even through our current time of metamorphosis. And I'm on this call because I'm here for the creativity as well. I would say that during this time, I'm not sure if other business owners can relate, but about 90% of my business just halted because I do a lot of like connecting, training, and marketing services where I go to tribal communities. So I had to pause and pivot, and so we just transitioned to more online connections, online training. And I would like to invite everybody on Friday. We're having our 14th episode of Eat, Learn, and Grow with Tinhorn, where we are going to be talking about the birds and bees of cybersecurity, because just like we think about protecting our loved ones during that time of growth, we need to do the same for our homes and for our small businesses, because we're all online more, and that's increasing our cyber risk. So we're going to have RJ Husky, who's also Navajo and a graduate student in cybersecurity at George Washington University. And he's going to be discussing what cybersecurity is and how we can protect ourselves. Some tips just that we can easily do now. And I thank you, Change Labs, for offering this, because the title intrigued me, and that's why I'm poolside listening to you all. So thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Nice to meet you, April. How about Evelina? I see your name there. Do you want to say hello? And to unmute, it's the little microphone on the bottom left.
I got it.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Azalina Boone. I'm from the Pueblo of Zuni, so I'm Zuni and Cheyenne Arapaho. Currently, I am part of the faculty at UNM Gallup. I am also an artist and also an entrepreneur. I'm here today just to learn about what's available now, because my community is really suffering. My community of Zuni, we have about 80% of our community members have some type of, let me restate that. 80% of our community have income derived from some form of art. So my community is really suffering. So I'm here to learn about what you all are doing, and hopefully I will turn around and help my community with pivoting on making their products available online. Thank you.
Great, nice to meet you, Azalina. How about Dave? I think Dave, you're in video as well. Good morning.
Hi, everybody. Dave Castillo, CEO for Native Community Capital. We have partners that we make loans to Native businesses throughout California, Arizona, New Mexico. They're all really having a difficult time right now, and we're trying to find ways to support them. It's just a luxury to be able to kind of step back and do a session like this. We're looking for inspiration. Obviously, those business owners inspire us every day because they're always solving problems, even in good times, and they're pivoting even now. So yeah, like Heather said, we don't know what's coming around the corner, and it's a good time to come together to figure it out together. So thanks.
Nice to meet you. No, okay. Wendy, I think I saw Wendy's name.
My name is Wendy Lewis. I am from the Hopi tribe. I am a small business owner, and I'm also a small business advocate. I'm currently working for a corporation that is focused on promoting a small business support organization on Hopi specifically. So that's why I'm here, to learn and listen to, and yeah, that's why I'm here.
Great, nice to meet you, Wendy. And how about Jessica?
Hello, all. My name is Jessica. I'm the Director of Business Incubation for Change Labs, and I'm joining the workshop because I just have been feeling tired, and with so much going on. I also work with the communities on just transition, transitioning from a coal-based economy to a more circular economy that's in line with cultural values and environmental health. I'm also working with the Navajo and Hopi families COVID relief effort, and really addressing water infrastructure and water issues for our communities. So there's a lot going on in addition to all the work that's happening with Change Labs. And I just really need to, reach out to listen to other people who I know are just as busy as I am, and also, looking at what resilience is and how, what tools and what's available and what I should be thinking about at this time. So thank you.
Hi, Jessica, nice to meet you. And let's hear from Sandy.
Yes, hello?
Hi, yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yes, my name is Sandy Whitehair. I am Hopi and Lakota enrolled here in Hopi, and I live in Palaca, Arizona. I'm a first-time business owner. First time meaning that I have a bachelor's degree in urban planning, and I had worked for 16 different communities, Native communities, in my career before I decided to become an entrepreneur with my daughter. Our business started out with selling at farmers market baked goods, and we slowly moved into catering as a full-time business. And then in our second year of that, that's when the COVID hit, and we were halted quite drastically. One, in that the Hopi tribe, the Hopi Revenue Commission had suspended all business license under the Hopi Revenue Commission. And then also the stay-at-home orders had extended all the way till mid-June. So we've just been out, able to, I guess, start conducting businesses. But I know here in Palaca area, there's a lot of individuals that are still fearful, apprehensive I guess you could say, about opening their businesses or reopening. And that was kind of our fear too during the whole stay-at-home order, the tribe. And we had decided to pivot our business so that we were able to continue to reach to our client, because more or less we wanted to be able to provide our healthy meals that were signature to our catering business. And being here, joining this workshop is more or less to see what's happening out there in other parts of Native country, maybe possibly network, because in pivoting our business, we're looking at more takeout and prepackaged meals. We're also hoping that there's other ideas out there that we can participate in being able to help other Native communities. Thank you.
Great, thank you for the introduction, Sandy. We've got just a few more names here. Okay, and then Millard, I think I saw Millard's name show up.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
My name is Millard Gewanyama, part of the Hopi tribe, Sons Forehead and Greasewood clan. I live here in Reno, Nevada, and I found Change Labs through an Instagram post. And for a while here, I've been wanting to see about, helping out the tribe along with other Native tribes as well. And I just figured joining this workshop to at least get started in that direction to see if I could become a resource for anyone. I've been managing a small business in Reno, Nevada for the last 10 years up here in Northern Nevada.
Great, it's nice to meet you. And then Unique, is Unique there?
Hi, yes, this is Unique. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Unique Yazi. I'm from the Navajo Nation, Chinle, Arizona, and Sanders, Arizona, kind of in between those two places. I moved out to Phoenix, Arizona to get a degree in design, and then just started my career path here. So I've been here since the year 2000, and my business started around 2009, but I finally created an LLC within the last 6 years. And so I guess my main focus being a part of this workshop is just really connecting with creative people and just understanding what the direction is, especially now that we kind of have to innovate ways to come together and be able to express ourselves. My goal is to create creative impact and also include Indigenous perspectives into very urban concepts or urban business planning or urban, just really trying to be that bridge to how people can work together in rural communities and in metropolitan communities.
Great, nice to meet you, Unique.
Yeah, thank you.
Was there anyone I missed who'd like to introduce themselves? Then I will ask my colleagues, Aaron and Lisa, to introduce themselves.
Yes, hi everyone, good morning. My name is Aaron Fallon. I work at SYPartners. Heather and Marcia taught us a new way of introducing ourselves. So on my mother's side, I'm Amish and Swedish. Her last name is Olsen. And on my dad's side, I'm Irish American, which is where my name Fallon comes from. And I'm joining this workshop because I'm just super excited to learn from all of you today. So thank you.
And I'm Lisa Katayama. I am on my mother's side, I'm Chinese, and my father's side, Japanese. And I'm joining this workshop because Heather invited me, and every time that Heather has invited me to do something, it has been a wonderful experience. And yeah, also just looking forward to getting to know each of you a little bit more through the work.
It's really nice to meet everybody. I think it's been 3 or 4 months since I met anybody new in this shelter in place moment we've been in for a long time. So it's really nice, and we are grateful to be with you. So we're gonna now jump into our first activity. So, oh, my screen. Oh, so talking about this moment for each of us. A lot of you, talked in your intros about challenges that you're facing, and I think, we can relate. And I think what's a good exercise is to name the thing that is happening, right? Naming it is the first part of trying to move forward. So we call this feeling stuck. Of course, there's a lot of things, big things that are happening, which are outside of our control right now: coronavirus and quarantine and anti-racist protests and backlashes to the protests. But what's happening underneath that? Happening for you personally? What are you feeling? What's in your head? And let's just take a quiet minute. Hopefully everybody has some paper next to them, and write down what you're feeling. And I'll walk through some suggestions we have, but of course, you might be feeling something completely different and you should write your own thing down. So feelings about my health, access to resources, past experiences, finding balance, beliefs I have about myself, making decisions, my family, being motivated, my emotions, sense of purpose, my community, uncertainty about the future, and sense of security. So we'll just take a minute here. And then at this point, if anybody would like to jump in, maybe we can hear from 4 or 5 people. If you're comfortable sharing, naming the thing that's making you feel stuck in this moment, if anyone would like to share.
So I'll go ahead and chime in. This is Unique.
Hi.
Hi. So I am high risk, and so and I'm an extrovert. So it has really impacted me in the way that I find motivation.
Yeah.
I'm a dancer, and I'm an artist, and I like to talk to people. I like to connect to people. I like to hear stories. I like to see people and to be able to talk to people with their face right there. I just feel like I get a sense of energy when I'm around people. And so I'm unable to do that. And so it's really I feel very stuck because I don't have people around me and because I feel less motivated. And I guess that's just more of an internal feeling, but because I've lived a life so freely and independently, and going to doing things and being a part of things and really voicing myself, it's kind of daunting thinking about what the future holds for us and how I'm able to create that same connection creatively. And so I just feel like I'm in deep waters right now.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
I'll share mine.
Does that resonate with anyone? Yeah, please.
I'll share mine. One that's not up here that I've realized is making me feel really stuck is my routines, because I realized that all of the routines that kind of gave shape to my day, even just commuting to work from home, without those kind of routines, everything kind of starts to blur together, and then it's hard to kind of find priority and hard to find focus. And I think that's the biggest challenge for me is getting back to a sense of structure and routine in how I spend my time. Because I think without that, my mind and my spirit tends to wander a little bit, and then it's hard to get focused. So it's kind of just funny. It's that's what's making me feel stuck, is that lack of structure right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Everything is different these days. Is there one more person who'd like to share?
Okay, April.
Go ahead, Martina.
Okay, I'll switch in my video. Okay. I think for me, I work a lot on projects with other people, other organizations. So I travel a lot, and I need that to be outside with people. And also when I work and create, I need lots of different spaces where I get the inspiration. And sometimes I get inspiration just walking around and seeing something. So I feel stuck at home because I don't have it, and my spare room it's not that very creative space, so I feel stuck. And the other thing is when I go outside and I kind of want to get this feeling for inspiration, all the people around me here feel a little bit tense. There's this tense where they're scared to walk past you, to smile at you. Parents, they're pushing their children towards them, you know, because they want to keep them safe distance. And that kind of lack of the warmth of just saying hi and like not being nervous that you're passing the other person, that is making me feel stuck because I'm a person who really needs to move when I create. I think, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And then I think, April, you were also going off mute before, so we'll hear from April.
Yeah, I was just thinking what's really been blocking me is my own thoughts, and that I'm applying them to the world now that doesn't exist anymore. So I think about all the limitations I have placed on either myself or my business, and I think like it doesn't really relate anymore because I know I'm not living in the same world I was before March hit, and so that to me has opened up. I guess that realization is opening up some possibilities. I'm a single mother, and I own my business, so I travel a lot. And a lot of what I couldn't do was always I needed to find care for my daughter, whenever I would travel. But now because I'm able to transition, training and facilitation to online, I'm able to do that with her. And then I'm also looking at, well, I don't have to be stuck in our condo in Hot Phoenix. Like I can get, like we're at a resort right now in Sedona, and so she's still able to, I guess have a pool. And so I'm looking at that because a lot of my feeling stuck was really looking at the well-being of my family. First, myself as a foundation, and I feel that I've gone through pretty much all the stages of grief, being a stay-at-home because I'm an extreme extrovert. And now it's looking, like that everyone that I touch. And so the next part for me is just the when questions. Is when is it safe for me to gather with other business owners and clients? When is it safe for me to go visit clients? So those are my kind of stuck at the moment where I'm at, is the when part of when it's business, when I can physically go places.
Yeah, exactly. This big when, right, is just so unknown for us. But I have to say, April, I'm getting a lot of joy out of some of the background noises where you are. It sounds like a ping pong game. It's almost like being in a new place.
Yeah, I'm poolside, but behind me there's some kids playing exactly ping pong.
Yeah.
Kids in the pool. We're still all social distancing. We're outside, and those were other things of being like I thought I had to like bubble wrap my daughter and myself, and now I'm just like, no. What I keep telling myself is like, you are now living with COVID-19. It's just like if you're living with diabetes or living with, I still need to live.
So being outside, yeah. Well, great. I think at this point we're going to switch gears, and I'll give the mic over to Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. And thank you guys for sharing what's making you stuck in this moment. We wanted to, one of my favorite sayings is to don't trust the teller, trust the tale. And so we wanted to spend some time, instead of talking at you about our own experiences, to look at a few stories from other folks, entrepreneurs of all shapes and sizes who have found themselves stuck in some way, maybe not exactly the same way that we're all feeling stuck, but look at how they found their own way out of these moments of being stuck. And I think, our hope is that even though these entrepreneurs and these, business owners that we're going to look at have different types of businesses than you might, or work in different fields or have different sources of inspiration, at the deepest level, every entrepreneur, every business owner goes through the same set of questions and the same set of experiences, and has to sort of figure out how to rely on their own inner strengths to get their way find their way towards getting unstuck. And so we're going to start with a story about a guy named Jason. Yeah, I'm going to let Jason speak for himself. So Ellen's going to play a video, and then we're going to spend some time talking about it.
We interact and the way we do business across borders. It really made me think deeply very early on about how to navigate these choppy waters. There's only 8 people on the planet who've ever designed an Air Jordan. I'm the only one from Chicago who's ever designed an Air Jordan. Michael Jordan, to me, growing up as a child in Chicago in the late 80s and 90s, he was larger than life. He was global, he was charismatic, he was a business person. Every single product he put out spoke to me. So the Jordans gave me permission to dream using an artifact at that moment in my life. From there, design would become my sport. I knew that Michael had improved his free throws and jump shots by shooting 1,000 shots per day. So I did 1,000 sketches a day. I got my internship at Nike. I was Nike's first Black design intern. I met Michael, and the rest was history.
Jason went on to design at Nike for 13 years. But after becoming a father, his thoughts drifted to how he could help the youth.
I knew that my gifts and talents were being used to help the world's greatest athletes, to help improve the lives of adults. But I started to think about elementary school children. What if I can build stronger children instead of fixing broken adults?
To build an empowering product for kids, Jason looked to an unconventional place: comics.
I looked at superheroes as an archetype. It not only gives kids the agency to see themselves as capable and possible, but for them to be the hero of their own journey.
In a study called the Batman Effect, researchers proved that when kids imagine themselves as superheroes, they perform better on tests.
And they're dressing like heroes, and therefore they have to behave like heroes.
And so when you get frustrated, I just want you to ask yourself, how is Batman feeling?
So that child was no longer their regular self. They were their exemplar self. They were a hero, so they knew the standards and ethics and values of a hero, so they biased toward that behavior. They outperformed the kids in regular clothes because they knew it was more important for me to fulfill my duties as a hero than it was for me to be a kid in this moment. And so we've leveraged that in our product. The moment you open the box, there's a sound. That sound is symbolic of the transformation from your regular self to your exemplar self. The moment they put on the cape, they realize, I'm not little Keisha, I'm not little Davon, I'm super Davon, I'm super Keisha. And they outperform their own expectations. So we work on footwear, apparel, content, and we also put on physical play experiences so the heroes can see themselves in context. So many people in my industry believe that the greatest thing you can do is take an adult shoe and just shrink it, put it on a child. Take an adult event and include a child. No. That's not good enough. Our children deserve our best. We focus on things like gender neutrality because you have the retail landscape that has a wall for girls' colors and a wall for boys' colors. And here we are showing up with just colors. We build our product physically to fit the modality of play that both boys and girls have at that age. Because when these kids discover what they can do on the playground, that translates into confidence in the classroom. Confidence into the classroom translates to people who aspire towards higher versions of who they think they can become.
Awesome. Thanks for playing that, Ellen. So we want to spend a few minutes talking about about Jason's story. So first of all, what did you guys think about his story? Any initial reactions?
I like that he included user experience, especially when opening up the packaging, and added sound, which I think to kids is such a big thing, right?
Yeah, I like that moment a lot too, because you can see him really using a lot of creativity and ingenuity to say, you know, most of the times when people open a shoebox, it's a very, you know, it's not an experience, it's just an action. And he sort of reinvented that to add a very unique spin that reinforced the kind of mission of the product, right? What else jumped out to people as interesting about Jason's story?
Erin, this is Sandy.
I like the way he, hi, my name's Denise McClellan. I wasn't able to introduce myself, but Jason really, he basically developed a need. He's seen a need that these kids need some type of encouragement, and he went with that. And it's not only helping the children, but also the community. He's actually bringing that community essence to it, and I like that idea.
Yeah, I think, Denise, you hit, for me at least, one of the most inspiring things about this story is that it's a need, but it's not just a need from a strictly business sense, it's a need for the community, right? And so it's a way in which he can use his own creativity to sort of empower and inspire and push other people to be better, rather than just kind of sell them products. And I think that's what makes his story compelling. And I think what, you know, one of the kind of sources of inspiration we want to draw from him is how you can sort of use your own superpowers to sort of reinvent things that are, you know, not just beneficial to yourself, but beneficial to those around you. I think one of the things that I'm particularly inspired by Jason. Sandy, I think you were saying you were going to jump in as well. Do you want to, I'd love to hear what you have to say too.
Yeah, I just typed it in the chat box, but I really liked how his life experience had changed his thinking, his creativity, to where he focused more on the children. And then with every aspect of a child's process, through visual, through sound, through sight, through everything, that's where he really pinpoint his new shoe towards that age group.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you pointed us to that, Sandy, because I think what I love about that as well is that it's you know, I think when we think about business and entrepreneurship and growth, we think about these like theories and frameworks and like, you know, what did the books say? And this, I think Jason's story is inspiring because he just observed what was around him and was very present and, you know, brave in sort of taking a step around something that he knew very personally, rather than like what other people told him to do. And I think there's some real learnings there for, I think, for all of us. It's like, how can we sort of, even as the world is changing around us, how can we sort of stay open to observing what we're seeing and really trust our personal experiences and sort of take action on kind of what we're seeing, how things are changing around us. I think, you know, that's a skill that everybody, you know, no matter if you're designed for Nike or not, can sort of pull, can lean on in this moment.
Erin, we also have a few comments in the chat. So from April, she says, loved how he addressed the root instead of the symptoms. Heather says, loved when he said, our kids deserve our best. Ellen, and I'll just read them out, and then if people want to jump in and elaborate on what you wrote, please feel free. Ellen says he did 1,000 designs a day to practice design. It's incredible. Evelina, his value changes, kept his core values, but found success on his own terms. Dave Castillo says he's the first Black designer for Nike, stayed 13 years, made it to the top and left. He saw something the big guys didn't. And it follows up with another, the world doesn't typically see us, our communities, the need and promise to do something special in Indian country, from Indian country, as Indian country.
Wonderful. The last question I want to ask everyone, and maybe I can ask everyone just to answer this question in chat. With one word, I want you to describe what strengths do you see Jason relying on in this video? So just pop your answer in the chat. I want to see what everyone comes up with. So one word, what strengths do you see him relying on right now? Resilience, persistence, belief, values, experience, yeah. Passion, yeah, you can tell he's very passionate about what he's talking about. It's a personal passion. Identity, that's a great answer. Vision, yeah, I would that we all had the sort of long-term vision or big picture thinking that Jason has. I think that's a wonderful answer. Okay, cool. Let's move on. I want to try to, I know we have some more answers coming in, but I want to make sure we get a chance to try to cover as many of these stories as we can, because each one is totally different. So our next story is a woman named Azalina. She's a Malaysian immigrant who lives in San Francisco and has started an incredibly successful line of restaurants. So successful, I believe even Lisa has eaten at them in the past. And Lisa has great taste in food, as we all know. But Azalina, we wanted to talk about Azalina because she's, in particular, she has a story to tell about how she's responding to the coronavirus. So we'll listen to her now.
Can you tell me a little bit more about yourself and what it is that you do?
My name is Azalina, and I am a fifth generation of Malaysian street vendor from Penang. But I have started my business about almost 10 years now in San Francisco. We did start off as a farmers market vendor, and now we have 2 brick and mortar. We are on our way to open up 3 more additional space, which right now is on hold. Since COVID-19.
If you feel comfortable, if you could just share a little bit more about how COVID-19 has affected your business and where you're at right now with the process.
We still are able to do takeout and deliveries, but that's not enough. Our business declined by 97%, and we're still keeping all 65 employees. We're still paying them. We decided we are going to deplete all of our savings just to make sure that our staff doesn't feel they've been abandoned, because I wouldn't have been here if it were not for that.
What are you doing to try to cope and to try to, get through this crisis?
We just keep making food and donate them to different shelters. We have opened up our kitchen space to people, to friends that have to shut down their restaurant to do like their takeouts from our space, so they can still generate money and they don't have to deal with anything because we're all still there. We are doing a small fundraiser through GoFundMe, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, people has been so supportive.
Who are you feeding every day?
So we're feeding a range of people. We're feeding domestic violence survivor, women and children's bed shelter. We're giving food every other day, about 4,000 meals to Blight Foundations.
Could you tell me a little bit more about the advice you might give to small business owners who are facing similar circumstances?
I'm not good at giving advice, but I can just share what works for me. You just have to be able to take that one step forward every single day. That's what I do. I just go. I can't sit still. I don't go backwards. I always make myself to take one step forward.
Thank you so much.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna ask the same 2 questions of each other. What did you guys think about Azalina's story?
I think I can relate. When the interviewer asked her how she coped during that time, her response was, "We just kept cooking."
Yeah.
And to me, that hits hard, because there's been times where business has been slow. You maybe lose some clients or whatever. And what I did to keep myself busy was I just kept reading, and I kept studying, and I kept looking online for resources and reaching out. And ultimately that was just a small phase in my work experience, but I was able to take what I learned from that time that I had to be able to do that and use it into what I do now. So not only did it help me to just cope during that time, but also be able to learn new skills or get in new information and so forth.
Yeah, I love that, Millard. It's like the time that you're spending, it might be on different activities, but but they're still really important things that help move you forward. And I think that's really inspiring for me to hear as well. So thank you for sharing. what other thoughts do people have? What did you think about her story? What struck you about what she shared?
Erin, this is Sandy again. The one thing that struck me is that she opened her kitchen to other families or to other businesses, and her, I guess that, what do they call that? Reciprocity, you know, where she's giving, but yet she's also giving to other people in the community. I really thought that was really great. She opened doors to that. Yeah.
Why do you think she did that, Sandy? I also was drawn to that. But what do you think? What do you think she was thinking when she made that choice?
Well, you know, we're new in our business, but at her level, in an area in which they're still allowed to do takeout, I would have did the same thing. I mean, because you're looking at an individual, not only yourself, but other individuals in the community that have been struck so hard by this COVID, to be able to share something to allow others to be able to prosper and still maintain a visual appearance out there connecting to their clients. So I think that's different in thinking than other business, especially with food, you know, because people got to eat, but not everybody has cooking skills at a level or have access to food, you know, so I really like that part.
I loved it too, because, you know, I think, you know, there's a way in which in this moment we can all become super selfish, and selfish is a very negative way of putting it, but I really mean kind of self-focused because of how challenging these times are. And I just think it's so brave the way that she is also keeping an eye on everyone around her, because in the long term, the health of the community around her is actually going to bring everybody up too. And you know, in this time of deep challenge, it can be so hard to find that sort of that community mindset, and I was just so inspired that she was able to find it herself. Any other thoughts about Azalina's story? Things that struck people about what they heard?
There's some voices in the chat too. So April, Dave, Trish, Stephanie, Heather, Martina. Do any of you want to elaborate on what you wrote in the chat?
Hello, this is Carlos with Alternative Eats. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
Hi.
Good. I just want to express the inspiration behind the story, because I myself have a small food trailer, and so I just like to share that. And that's about it. It was an amazing story. Thank you.
So, you know, one other thing, if I can just share as well, because it's a little hard to hear in the video, so I just wanted to point everyone's attention to it. At one point, she says that, Azalina says that she made the decision to take some pretty drastic measures to ensure that she could continue paying her staff. And she said that it was because it was very important to her that she support the people that helped her get to where she was. And I thought that was such an interesting and tough choice to make, because I actually, so much of what you hear about business owners' decisions being about kind of laying off and retrenching and sort of cutting back, and she decided to cut back on other things and keep her staff around. And I'm far from saying that is the choice everybody can or even should make, but I think it's an interesting one to think about in these times. I want to keep us moving. I know time is so slippery on these workshops, so we could spend another hour talking about Azalina, but same question. Everybody type one word in the chat. What is a strength that you see Azalina relying on? A sort of individual personal strength you see her relying on in this moment. So put your one-word answer in the chat, please. Fearless, yes. Persistence. Relationships. I love relationships. it's those, you know, the relationships are so important to business. And I think if you give up on them and when times are tough, that you can never expect them to last. Inclusivity, purpose, bravery. Wonderful. Thank you all for sharing so much. We had one more example, but I think we're probably gonna skip this one so we can keep moving. But I will send the I'll send the video to everyone because I think it's a super interesting story. So with this in mind, you know, this idea of sort of using your kind of personal strengths to kind of find your way out of a situation in which you're being stuck, we're going to sort of transition into thinking about what your own personal strengths might be. And I'm gonna turn it over to Ellen to lead that part of the conversation.
Yes. So another term for strengths is superpowers. And I love, in that first video we watched, Jason talks about psychological effects that happens with children when they embody a superhero. And I think that idea is not just for children, it's definitely also for adults like us. So thinking of, you know, that strength that you have as an individual, as a business leader, as somebody in your community, what is your superpower? You know, we've had fun identifying the other two entrepreneurs we looked at, but now it's time to look inward. So I'll read, I'm not sure if everyone on the phone can see the screen. So we have some suggestions here, but of course you may have something that is not written down here. So courage, patience, motivation, ingenuity, empathy, decisiveness, creative thinking, vision, peacemaking, grit, experimentation. And I think what we can do here is on your paper, or if you want to put it directly in the chat, I think that's been a good way to share. What is the superpower that you have? You know, what is it that people look to you for advice? What's gotten you out of situations in the past? And then secondly, what's something that you're working on? You know, what's something you're trying to be great at? And I think this is a nice way to share, especially as we're building a community with the people here on this call. And you can look to others to see, you know, what they might be great at, and you can learn from one another there. So I'll just, I'll be quiet for a minute. Everybody can think about what their superpower is. So April, I see you're the first in this section. So connector, that's your superpower. Can you tell us why?
Because I love people, and I've been just at all these different Native conferences since I was a kid, and just always kind of catalog people. Like, okay, I remember that this is your superpower, and so people usually hit me up when they need to reach different people, and that's actually become a growth area in my business.
Yeah. Actually, in a more tactical sense, this connecting people, is there a way to exchange email addresses after this? And maybe I look to Marcia and Heather to answer that question. We can just put it in the chat here if there's something more official with Change Labs.
Of course.
Okay.
I love how many extroverts we have on the call. Everybody's like, I'm an extrovert, I'm a connector. That's wonderful.
Let's see, Millard, experimentation. How is that your superpower?
Ever since I've entered into the work field at 18 after graduating, when you start working for large companies or working under management, you realize that not everything is done correctly. You want to guess that it is the way that it is, but there's always just a better way to do so. So whenever, you know, I'll roll out something here new at work, and I'll try, and if it doesn't work, it's like, okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's take what we learned and go that direction with it, but change a few things. When I was a kid, something would break in the house, I would be asked to fix it. Well, I never really was able to fix it, but I learned from what I was able to try and fix. And the next thing that I was assigned to fix, I would use that to try and, you know, fix whatever was broken. So that's just always kind of been my personality. I'm not afraid to and sometimes I even know it's gonna fail, but I at least want to just try it and see what I get with it, or see what I can learn from it.
That's interesting. That's helpful in this moment when there's a lot of need for risk taking and a lot of unknown. Yeah. Trish, I think this is interesting. You're told it's patience. Do you agree?
No.
You don't agree? Okay. What is your superpower according to you?
A lot of people tell me I'm really patient in, I mean, Marcia has told me that, Jessica has told me that, a lot of other people have told me that. I know that I have grown in my patience over the years. So since it's something I've had to work on, I don't think it's a strength. It's just something I will continue to work on.
Great. Yeah. And that's interesting that it can be both of those things. Sorry to cut you off, Lisa. Yeah. The thing you're working on is the thing that actually people know you for and what they see in you. Very, very interesting. Would one more person like to share? And then we're going to have, I think, just a quick break. So, we've been on the call for a little while. So would one more person like to share what their superpower is and then also what they're working on?
Hello, this is Carlos.
Yeah.
With Alternative Eats. I wouldn't say a superpower. I would say it'd be living here, just existing as a Native American, in 2020. And I think that's like, it's a huge blessing, because, of, how this country came to be. And, there's, systematic, poverty and oppression that we're neck deep in, that a lot of us experience every day, and you see it here on the reservation a lot. So for, to be here during these times, and still be resilient, still be, striving to survive, trying to hang on to our culture and all that, I don't know what you would call it, but just, strengths passed down through our ancestors, you know what I mean? And that's what I believe in, because we have to continue existing here. We have to continue building Indian country. We have to continue trying to be independent, sovereign. We have to continue with all these struggles, no matter what, and it's a huge determination that, it's a huge determination that we have to have, and it's a huge responsibility on our shoulders as natives, and I just, would like to, acknowledge that, because that's I guess just the superpower, the motivation, or the drive behind being who I am today. Being what Alternative Eats is, being networking, actually being in this conference or this webinar with other Native entrepreneurs. It's huge. It's a blessing, and we're in. I really, a lot of people think like these times are troubling and stuff. I think it's exciting times. These are times of change. These are times of, huge realizations, and we're part of it. So, that's another, I guess, motivation and determination behind that, being an indigenous, business owner, being an indigenous person that's, knowledgeable and that, has cognitive, sight and thought, So I don't know. That's about it, man. Thank you.
That's really incredible. Thank you, Carlos. I think that we'll leave it there. I mean, I won't take the final word from you. We'll leave it there.
This last section is really going to be about you and each of you and how you can roadmap towards the future. So just to recap what we've done, we looked at what's keeping us stuck in this moment or what's difficult. We got some inspiration from a couple of entrepreneurs out in the field. We looked at our superpowers, we identified what our superpowers are. And I think all of this is going to help us with thinking about our future, our individual futures, the futures of our businesses and communities. So we're going to do a little bit of a visioning exercise to start. So I invite you to just put everything down. I'm going to lead a short visualization exercise. So you can close your eyes if you want, or just, sit and listen. But we're going to just imagine. So today is June 24th, 2020. So let's just imagine that it's a year from now, June 24th, 2021. And from wherever you sit in this moment, let's just imagine, indulge ourselves in this belief that things are getting better. And you can be as realistic and cautious or as ambitious as you choose to let yourself be. But don't be afraid to indulge yourself in this vision of the future, in a little bit of optimism about where we could be going. So just imagine it's a year from now and things have gone well. So if you could just visualize yourself. Where are you? Where do you see yourself in this moment? And what are you doing? Who are you with? To get here, what challenges have you overcome? What are you facing head on? What have you faced and overcome? What are you working on? And just imagine yourself in this moment and think about what does it feel like? What are you feeling? What are you looking at? Are there any other senses that are in play? Like maybe there's smells associated with this moment, or a taste, or sounds. So I just want you to take a little bit of time and envision this moment a year from today, when things are going well. And once you have something that you feel is concrete enough to either write down or draw on a piece of paper, I'd love to invite you to do just that. So take a piece of paper. Again, take as much time as you need to get to this vision. When you have it, draw a picture, put it on paper, and we will come back to that piece of paper in a moment. Okay, I'm just checking in. How is that going? I see some people still writing, which is also okay. And if anybody would like to share just how that went for you, take a moment to do that.
Hi, this is Denise.
Hi.
How are you? The year 2021, I see like my profitable business plan being a success. It would have been like for 20 years now, I have had a business, and I'm a Navajo arts and craft owner. And also I'm a fitness professional as well. And so, of course, community is definitely something that I want to provide a service to. And I see in the year 2021 that our finances are in order. I also see my life more balanced, because as a self-employed business owner, balance is always an issue. I've always tried to find ways to balance family time, work schedules, providing services within the community, being able to be that advocate for my local people here, and also this new new transitions to online using like all digital channels is something that I want to start investing more time into. So the year 2021, I want to be more, I want to have a more monetized strategy for making income online, but also just be able to market better. I mean, these are all different, and understanding like the consumer behavior. Those are super important right now. And I see right now, I have a lot of weaknesses and I have a lot to learn. And I'm not being hard on myself about it, but at the same time, it's a daily progressive, I have to take progressive steps daily. And I believe that most of us can relate to that also. Thank
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. It's so great. I love how detailed your vision was, and you know, how optimistic, but also seems like something that you can actually attain. I'm curious, but what was your superpower that you identified in the previous exercise?
I think I missed that because I got a call from my physician, because I did have to step out for a bit. But as far as superpowers, I would say that I am a listener and I like to learn. I'm really open-minded about that. And that's the one thing when I invest in something, I try to do it 110%, and it becomes my new baby at the time. So.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing, Denise. And we will have more time later to share people's visions and how we are going to roadmap our way to get there. But does anybody else want to share how that went for them? Dave, I see your note in the chat as well. Thank you. We will have sharpened our perspective, developed new relationships, felt understood, and taken action to address the needs of the other. We will have been renewed. So thank you for that. It's quite beautiful. So what we're going to do next, maybe we'll just dive in, because this is going to help us kind of get to further clarity and like actually start to map our way into this vision. So we're going to be just thinking about, so reminder, so we have our superpower and we have our vision. So, and we're going to be looking at the next year again from now, and how our superpower will help us get to this vision. And in order to think through this, we need to look at, we're going to be like looking at 3 areas in which you can make impacts in your own life. So let's start with yourself, right? So you, like, kind of at the core of everything we're doing, there's you, the business leader, the founder, the person who has great ideas and the ability to execute on those ideas. So we really need to think about, like, how are we taking care of ourselves? So how are you taking care of yourself? What are you committing to that will serve you and ground you in your vision? There's also your business. So the second tier is the business, which is perhaps the thing that you spend the most time on. Ellen, can you go back one slide? So like Denise, you said, like you know, the thing you're doing becomes 110% like your baby, right? So that's maybe perhaps your business. It's your passion, it's your lifeline, it's maybe the way that you support your family or the way that in which you contribute to your community. And then the kind of biggest tier here is the community, which is the container, if you will, that you exist in and your business exists in. So this includes the people, the culture, the environment in which you operate. So we're gonna take a few minutes to look at each of these areas, and we have some questions to help you think about how you can show up for yourself, your business, and your community. So let's start with yourself and your growth. So in order to achieve your vision, which hopefully all of you were able to articulate, at least to yourselves in whatever way, how can you evolve over the next year? And so that might be, for example, a declaration like, I will spend more time on this, or I will learn how to do this, or I will seek help from a person or an organization, maybe something else. So you just take a few minutes and write on your sheet of paper, how will you evolve in the next year to achieve your vision? Does anybody want to share what they wrote or what they're thinking through? Okay, I see April's note in the chat. I will seek help from a relatable expert on how to chunk my time to create more time for me and my daughter and yourself. Yeah, I love that. So important.
Lisa, if I can jump in, I think one thing that I've been really thinking a lot about is self-care. I heard this amazing talk a few months ago where someone said like the first step to succeeding is health, and like only if you're healthy and sort of well can you really achieve any success. And it's so funny because it often happens the other way around. You like squeeze in self-care around things that you're trying to achieve. And I think for me, I'm trying to think about the next year. How can I put self-care first and then let everything else kind of.
Yeah, so important. Also, I feel like that's quite related to what Trish just posted about spending more time on intentional time with family, learning how to ask help and seeking help from our team and my community. And Millard as well, thank you. I want to stay committed to helping, learning, assisting with people in this meeting and others going forward. Okay, that's great. So hopefully everybody got to write one thing down. And if you didn't, also that's perfectly okay, because we will send you this presentation later and you can do it on your own time. I know this is a little bit rushed. So let's go on to the next circle. And so that's going to be around our business. So now let's think about your business. I think most of you said you're business owners or work at a business. So in order to achieve your vision, how can your business evolve over the next year? So that could look like, my business will focus more on blank, or my business should partner with blank person or organization, or my business needs support from blank. And, quick plug, Change Labs is here, obviously, to support many of us, many of you. And then what else? So what does your business need in order to evolve over the next year? So let's do, yeah.
And I was just going to say business can also mean work that you do, any project that you're working on. We wanted to use, we know a lot of folks here are entrepreneurs, but if it doesn't feel exactly directly relevant, feel free to think about it as sort of your work life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm already seeing some great answers in the chat. Stephanie says you're enrolled in a future thinking certification. That sounds cool. You're spending more time learning, sharing it, and learning Adobe Creative Suite. Also great. Denise says I will spend more time on learning the ins and outs of digital imaging, online funnel platforms, communication links, and marketing links. Yeah, awesome. It's great. Yes, and health, and wellness, and family time. And I guess just in the interest of time, I'm going to move on to the next tier as well. You can still work on the business one, but the third tier will be around community. So, and this may be related to your business and yourself, of course, because these are all kind of concentric circles. But so let's think about your community's growth and your role in the community. In order to achieve your vision, what do you need to give in order to get from your community? So perhaps you can share your skills, certain skills with somebody in the community, or make deeper connections with a person or an organization or a movement, or advocate for whether that's yourself, something you're involved in, or somebody who could use your advocacy. So let's think about that too. And, this doesn't have to be linear. It's just about, to get to your vision, like how do you need to work within your community? Okay, so love, April, what you said about your business, focusing on documenting processes so you can contract out services to free up time to be the visionary. That's often a very important step as an entrepreneur. So it sounds great. Denise, and I think I saw a couple other people also declaring their intention to partner with Change Labs. So awesome, yes. Dave, for community, remain transformational, avoid trending towards becoming overly transactional. Yeah, model relationship based on economics versus greed-based economics. Yes, if everyone in this world thought that way, we would just be living in a much better place. Yes, and deeper connections, April, with organizations. Supporting women business owners, that get that supporting women business owners positively impacts their communities immediately, but doesn't have presence in tribal communities. Yeah, that's great. Does anybody else want to share out loud? I can keep reading, but if anybody wants to unmute and join us.
It's something like I have a project in my mind which will hopefully happen in a few years after I learn more how to do things. But one of the things which is relating a lot to community, because it would be for different communities, is to learn how to be welcomed by new communities. So I learn their values and their point of view. So how can I be welcomed as a kind of a stranger and gain the trust and the openness? So that's something I'm curious about. And if anyone knows what I can learn or read or listen, I would love that. I'd love to get that information. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So I'm gonna just move us along, because what I'd love to do is just have a little bit of time for everybody to share what they wrote overall, and leave some time for questions before we close. But so ultimately, what we were trying to get at with all this is to build a roadmap to your vision. So I think some of you drew pictures and some of you wrote down your vision. But if you could imagine just kind of putting your vision at the top or the center of your illustration of the future. And then I'd love for each of you to think about 3 commitments that you can make for this next year in order to achieve that vision. So, and just to keep us kind of committed, because I think these commitments are actually a really important way to manifest the future. Let's think about like one that you could do right now, today, or this week, like something that you can do, a first step. It could be tiny step, but something that takes you towards your vision. So that's the first. Today, this week, I will blank. So if you could write that down or jot it down in your head, and then have like at least 2 more. By June 24th, 2021, or, by a year from now, I will do this. And so, yeah, write these down for yourself. And so that you can keep it in a place where you can commit to it. You declare it by writing it down. This is also a moment where you can look back at your original vision and say like, oh, okay, is this still exactly what I want? Or are there little things I want to change about it? Or do you want to fine tune it? You could do that too. How is everyone doing? I wonder if we could turn this into a little bit of a sharing moment. So wherever you are in the process of writing your vision is just fine. But if we could have a few volunteers share your vision, your superpower, and the commitments that you're making, or even just one of the commitments, that would be great. You can unmute your mic and join us.
I'm not finished, but I'm happy to share.
Okay, thank you.
So I had identified my superpower as grit. And I wrote that I see myself moving to Arizona or New Mexico and dedicating a portion of my copywriting business to providing strategic communications assistance to Native entrepreneurs, perhaps on a pro bono basis. A challenge I face is how to continue serving all of my current clients and maintain my income while offering this new service. Where do I find the time and resources? I feel like I need help creating a new business plan.
Great. And do you know where you will go for that help? Do you have some ideas?
I mean, I'm definitely following Change Labs and, seeing what you all offer, and if there's some way I can kind of connect and help out in that way. But yeah, I'm still kind of thinking about it. There's also a startup lab here in Atlanta through Emory University's business school that's offering kind of like a way to outline your next move forward in your business. So I've applied to that as well to see if I can get some guidance there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Heather, I'm wondering if you would like to share yours.
Sure. Well, I put that my superpower was obsessiveness, but after listening to everybody else talk, specifically Millard, when he said that, or he was talking about how one of his strengths is his ability to just try, which is a really powerful strength. I realized that, I think I'm kind of like that too, just a willingness to try, problem solving and embracing ambiguity. And the vision that I had for this coming year was just the ripple effect and the growth of Change Labs in terms of like just responding to the need in our communities right now. And one of the things that I had drawn in my sketch, using this opportunity, I think where all of our leaders are suddenly paying a little bit more attention to small businesses and looking for ways to make things easier, that how as a community we can harness that and take this opportunity by the reins and make some change, improving the business environment, extending internet access in our community so people can get online, strengthening the coalition of small business owners around Navajo and Hopi. And I was thinking specifically, what would Change Labs focus on, and who we partner with around that. And we're just about to launch this Doing Business on the Navajo Nation report next month. And Dave Castillo left a comment on our Facebook page about how we could make that information more public so that it's not just a report that lives on the internet that nobody ever reads. And he made a fabulous suggestion, and I've been thinking hard through this exercise that we're just doing now about how do we take all this research that we've just done and marry that to this appetite for change, for improving the environment for small business owners on Navajo. Because my biggest fear is that like a year from now, that momentum will be gone. So how do we take this moment now and use it to turn things around?
Yeah, that's so great. See, I just, when you see an opportunity in a moment, like so important to leverage that. And yeah. Thank you. I'm just seeing a couple other things in the chat. Sandy, Denise, Dave, do any of you want to talk about what you wrote?
Yeah, this is Dave. I mean, there's what I wrote, because I'm a pretty big picture guy. And, I work in finance, and so the details are, super important, which is why I've got some really great staff. But, I'm not sure what I was expecting out of today's session. It was very helpful. I think I just want the quick answer. But this has been a very good process. And I was thinking back somehow, I don't know why this popped into my head, but I don't know if you remember back in 2018, a volcano had erupted in Hawaii. And I have a friend out there, and I was really concerned about her. So I reached out to her, and I think this is kind of appropriate. It's the same thing, right? There's uncertainty and there's danger. And I just really appreciate how wise and stable, just kind of, even if she is scared, her words are really great. So she said, mahalo nui loa. I don't know what that means. Probably means hello, something else. We appreciate you checking in on us. For most of us, we welcome Tutupele, albeit she can be frightening. She is magnificent. We feel blessed that she continues to provide us with new aina, which means land. Our kapuna would say, open the door and welcome to Tupele, as it is her domain. And I was just like, shoot, here I am really scared about this situation for her, and she's looking at it as an opportunity, kind of like Carla said. So I think it is an opportunity. That's kind of what my vision is for a year from now in our business. And I think it's just the idea of, as frightening as the politics is, the racism, the structural things that have been around for way too long, we just keep going forward, and we focus on, if my strength is big picture and my weakness is being able to see the detail and feel kind of where, and understand and take action based on where people are at, then that's where I could do my best work. So I've got an idea now, and I know I need to work on the detail because it's still super big picture, but I'll look forward to doing that work. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, Lisa, this is Sandy.
Hi,
I guess coming from a background of urban planning, but more towards in my work experience before becoming an entrepreneur, it was really focused on not urban development, not gross development, but really looking at Native communities at where they're at and how to really develop their needs in the community. So whether that was a community building, a community kitchen, housings, that kind of thing. And then moving towards becoming an entrepreneur now and still living in, I guess, my own community, in Native community, I can really still see those gaps of, and I think Dave hit on it, is that capital, the resources that are really needed in Native communities. But now that I'm an entrepreneur, I kind of focus, still on helping the community, but how do we move towards economic development that's not based on a lot of what Native tribes have done was do casinos, because now this COVID has really hit, and now those tribes are struggling, with their casinos. So how do we refocus economically in our Native communities, I guess, in a way that really helps small businesses? Because through Native communities and in my own experience, we kind of focused on that bigger, bringing in industries or companies to our reservations so that we created jobs. But now it's more or less, refocusing and looking at how do we help our small businesses to really thrive and to build economy from that. So that was, I guess, my comment that I put into the chat on where do we start? How do we start? Because that's something that's always been on my mind since I started entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I realize that's such an important piece to all this, right? You can have vision and aspiration, but it's so important that the resources are also available and that you know how to access them. I realize we're about 10 minutes over time, and I don't know, Heather or Marcia, if you wanted to say anything, or if we have a little time for questions, or
Hi everyone, I want to thank you for coming and joining us today. I'm skip ahead to talking a little bit about our next workshop webinar, which is business taxes Q&A. It will be presented by Angela Bobet on July 8th, 2020 at 11 a.m. You can sign up using our website at nativestartup.org/events. And also you can use that link to make an appointment with a business counselor as well. And again, our co-working space is open every day, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.